Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, New Type of Money.
And I am Uncle T, and we are B.R.A.V.O.
Man, what's going on, man? We're going to get straight into it. Today, we're going to talk about the lies of the enemy, man. We know in the world that we live in that this world is really not our habitat. Well, it is our habitat, but it's only a small glimpse of the life that we're actually going to live, because the kids have the saying YOLO, you only live once, but the reality is you will live another life after this life. And I don't get too deep in the conversation of heaven and hell and all, churchy with it or nothing like that, so I'm not even finna voice my introspect or beliefs on that. But I will come to you on the fact that I know that in the human body there is energy. There's energy inside of every living thing, and we learn in school the third law of conservation states that energy basically doesn't die. It can only be transferred. So that leads me to conclude that when this earthly body dies, that the spirit, the soul inside of it has to transfer to another place, to another plane, to another dimension. So like I said, again today, me and Uncle T, we gonna talk about the lies of the enemy, man. And there's so many lies, that the enemy tries to throw out there. Uncle T, what type of lies you think of just off the top of your head?
Well, right now what I'm seeing a lot of, man, and it's government based. Actually, it's this whole, and I know it ain't just started now, but the whole marijuana epidemic, man.
Wow.
It just came out of nowhere lately, to where just all the kids just want to get high. They just, at any means necessary, no matter who they hurt, no matter what the situation is, they just want to get high. They lie, steal, cheat, just for this little green stuff that you roll up in a brown cigar. I don't get it. I've never been a smoker, so I kind of don't understand. I been through some situations recently with my own kids. I have 3 kids, and I won't name their names on the radio, but I got a 19-year-old, 17-year-old, and 11-year-old. Of course, my 11-year-old is innocent at the moment. She's my little baby, my angel. But these 2 big kids, man, their life revolve around being high, and I'm always the bad guy. I don't get it. And again, I think that's one of the devil's tricks, is to make the person, the dad, the mom, the authority figure, feel as if they're the person that's wrong for saying, hey, guys, you shouldn't be smoking that stuff, man. Get high, you're messing your brain cells up. And it's like, even today, New Type of Money, I feel like I'm being convicted because I don't want my daughter smoking weed, man.
Yes, I just want to interject, and let you know, man, like you were saying, I believe weed is one of those things that in this climate that we're in right now, it's kind of like it's going back to the 70s, and I was born in 88, I'm 30 years old, but I hear stories about the 70s, and about the hippies, and how weed was just so, it was so free and so promoted, but I know that it's not only weed, and we gonna get back to weed, but man, you got the Molly and the Percocets and the Xanax and the X pills. I know that was some real popular when I was younger. The X pills and cocaine always been around. And what many people don't understand is that most of these people that start using other drugs, they started off on marijuana, Uncle T.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly the gateway drug, and people try to fight that, man, and say that's not necessarily
it's
true.
Weed, it's from the earth.
That's nonsense to me, because you think about it, I don't really know no crackheads, and I don't really know nobody on heroin and nothing. I'm saying that because those are some heavy drugs, I think. But I don't think you can ever meet a crackhead and say, hey, man, what's the first drug you ever used? And he's going to say crack. He's more than likely going to say weed.
Right.
Because he got high. And I feel like with anything else in life, when you find out there's a greater or something better, you kind of elevate to that. Like, that's what you're gonna do. Like, if you're used to driving fast cars and you find out that there's a faster car, you're gonna want that faster car.
Right.
So is that the same with drugs? Like, if you high and you know something that can get you higher, wouldn't you want that?
I feel you in a way, Uncle T, but I for most, I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that they just want to get higher. I think it's just like experimental. Cause I would say, like, okay, I started out smoking Black and Milds, like, you know, in the 8th grade, just smoking Black and Milds, and then eventually around the 8th grade too, started smoking weed. You know, and I started smoking weed. My cousins and them would be smoking, and, you know, they was in like high school and stuff. So I started smoking weed. They would just pass me the blunt just to laugh at me. You know, they was smokers, so, you know, I'm just now smoking, so they'll get me high just to laugh at me, and I gotta go home high. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man.
And that's you know, it was crazy, but, like, you know, with me, I know that a lot of people do it just to, I'm gonna say a lot of teenagers, a lot of preteens do it, you know, just to kind of fit in and be cool. And I'm trying to think back. I don't think that was my reasoning. It's just like, growing up, I felt like I was a great child. I talked a lot, you know what I mean? But my story was kind of like, it seemed like nothing I could do was good enough, and that's for my father. You know what I mean? Like, my mama, we was cool or whatever. We used to get into it like in elementary school. She used to fuss, but then she kind of laid back and stopped fussing. It's like my dad picked up, and he was always the one that was real strict. And it's like, even with a kid that up to the 8th grade made straight A's, you know what I mean, did everything he needed to do, it's like none of that was good enough. So it's like, okay, none of that's good enough. Like, I'm gonna just do whatever the hell I want to do, because it's like everything that you telling me to do, I'm doing, and it still ain't nothing to you. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like hanging out with people and going through the frustration of, like, dang, I want to make my dad happy. I want to make my brothers happy, and it's like I could never make these main people that I want to make happy. So I turned into the person that, you know what, I'm gonna do what makes me happy. And at that time, I didn't even know what made me happy, but I knew when I was around other people what it looked like that made them happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of like, shoot, I'm frustrated about, you know, certain things that I'm going through, and I'm chilling with my cousin, they smoking, like, man, let me hit that blunt. Like, man, yeah, let little money hit the blunt.
Yeah.
You know that.
I mean, I get it, but, like, I guess I'm thinking to myself, though, what about, like, results? Is that just something that teenagers don't think about? I think I did. I mean, I was born in 81. I was a teenager, you know, 98, 97 and stuff, and I based my life off of results, though. Like, if somebody told me, like, you see that guy over there sleeping on the bench, like, he a crackhead, he been in the neighborhood for 15 years, like, I'm gonna say, like, oh shoot, like, I can turn into that if I mess with, like, this, like, so I always kind of, like, been afraid of. Now, I did try to sell weed one time for, like, 2 weeks, and my parents found out.
Like 2 weeks.
My parents, for real, money. My parents found out, and my aunt actually told on me. I was in the car with her boyfriend and my friend, and he found out what we was doing and told my aunt. My aunt told my parents, man, they took my truck. And I remember it like yesterday. My dad told me, son, I don't care about you drinking a little bit here and there. Teenagers gonna do that, but I don't mess around with drugs, man. And if that's what you finna do, it ain't gonna happen here. And ever since then, like, that was it for me.
Right.
Because, you know, my dad made a statement, and that was it. I guess today's society, they were like, that ain't enough. But if that's not enough, what about factual issues like results? Do they not care? I mean, a study actually shows that it actually says that there are significant evidence that to suggest marijuana or cannabis, whatever you want to call it, reduces level of dopamine in the brain, which is your happy cells now, a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in learning, movement, motivation, emotion, and rewards. Now, you're killing those cells.
Wow.
Now, on another side, it says low dopamine cells have been associated with mood changes, fatigue, depression, a lack of motivation. Dopamine deficiency is present in a number of neurological conditions, including Parkinson's disease and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, these are facts. Why would you want to smoke still?
But and it's crazy because it's like we're older, you know, so it's like now we actually go do research and stuff like that. But it's like for when you're young, it's almost just like you don't care about results. Like most,
I guess
I'm just
so.
being,
I got upset. I got to calm my voice down. I'm yelling.
It's not,
Sorry,
you good,
world
you
out
good,
there,
Uncle
the
T.
nation. I'm yelling.
Good,
I'm
Uncle T,
upset, man.
You know, they gonna get every side of us. You know, sometimes we go through all different types of emotions, man, and that's, you know, that's just a part of life. But it's like the reality is, man. Like I say, I started out just like smoking on a social level, you know what I mean?
Right.
Smoking just smoking, and then it quickly transpired into smoking to deal with my problems. I don't even know how it got there, but it got there very quickly. So after smoking to deal with my problems, it quickly moved from smoking to deal with my problems to like, this is like a lifestyle. This is like when I wake up in the morning. Well, let's go all the way back. 9th grade. Well, my whole high school year, probably every day, went to school high. Like, before I went to school, I had to smoke me a blunt. You know what I mean?
But why though? Like,
Because it in my head, in my mind, it relaxed me. It put me in a mode of relaxation. I'm chilling, and kind of like, well, it just didn't faze me, like.
Because your dopamine level was low.
And it makes sense now. You know what I mean? Like,
because you wasn't naturally happy. You was killing your dopamine cell. But again, I guess that's, like I said, like, what happened to results? Like, if you at 30 can explain that to a 16-year-old, like, it's kind of a dumb question, but why don't they get it? Like, if somebody tell you that, hey, man, if you jump over that fence in that water, it's 17 alligators. I counted them yesterday. I don't think you're gonna jump over there in that water.
But see, that's the thing too, Uncle T. Like, and I'm glad we even having this conversation, because there's kids that don't know this, or now just getting this information for the first time. People
From us. I guess that's what B.R.A.V.O is doing.
There's more people that's, first of all, I was more influenced by music than I was by somebody that even would have had that message.
Oh,
even though
man.
nobody had that message.
Yeah.
But all the music I listened to, all the rappers I would hear would talk about how they smoking, you know.
Popping pills and popping X.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, I'm listening to this music, I'm putting this in my ear gate, and the people that I'm seeing, I hung around people older than me. So like, at the time, I'm like 15, 16, I'm hanging around my uncles that's like 30, and you know what I mean? My friends are even like in the 12th grade or older. So it's like they're already smoking, selling drugs, doing this, doing that. So it's like I'm not even around those people that's saying, man, stay in school, get your education, whoop, whoop, whoop. It's like,
and that's the problem right there, though. I think in a nutshell, you actually, that's the major topic, really, is music, man, because
right.
It's what's being promoted. But the thing is that I have a problem with rappers, and excuse me if I offend anybody out there that's rapping or this and that, man, like, what are you doing? Like, you promoting basically slavery. You're promoting your people to go out and do things that's gonna get them arrested, a life behind bars, strung out on crack, pills, while you in your mansion not doing any of it. It's not okay, because if you're gonna tell one side of the story, tell both sides of the story.
And I want to say, Uncle T, even though people talked about smoking and drinking and stuff in the music back then, it's like in the era where I kind of grew up in, it was more of the dope boy era. Like, I grew up in the trap era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like they would talk about smoking, but that was like, smoking was like celebration. It's like, it was more like, I don't even know how to put it, but that wasn't the focus. The focus was we getting to this money, like, right. So it was focused more on getting the money and trapping. But now we've moved from in rap, or I would say hip hop or whatever the case, like them actually, I'm gonna say my era, which they was talking about selling dope. Now it's basically addict music.
Yeah, everybody high.
Addict music, like even the rappers, but a lot of the rappers that they listening to, these people are high. Like, and
they don't even care about cars and clothes, but no more. Everybody I just want to be high, spaced out.
Not even just on weed. Like they talk about everything. They talk about acid and like, man, it's
really sad, because people,
man.
And here's an artist I'm gonna name, and I actually like his I'll say his style, but like Future is strictly a dope rapper.
Right.
Everything that he talks about promotes.
Rapper.
Yeah, he's a drug promoting artist.
Right. He was, when I said acid, that was the guy that I was thinking about. Future.
He has a song.
I just tried acid and like what? Like,
I've never in the years of music heard the hook of a song actually promote drugs. He got a song that said Percocets, Molly Percocets, Percocets.
And at that time, that was one of the hardest tracks.
That's the hook of your song, basically, and you say it in a different term, like kill yourself. Go ahead, kill yourself. Take these pills. Go ahead, kill yourself. That's what he said. Like, because if you're taking Molly's and Percocets and all that stuff together, you're going to die.
And see, that's like you talk about the results. You talking to a guy, and I'm gonna just kind of briefly try to catch you up or take you back to where I was as a teenager, Uncle T, in world like that. Like I say, started out just socially smoking. Then started out trying to like smoke to deal with the issues of life, and then that went to like smoking as a lifestyle, like after high school and stuff, or even in high school. Like after I got out of school, I'm smoking round the clock. Mm-hmm. Like smoking was a every hour thing. And people, you talk about how people go to the next thing. I didn't start popping ecstasy because weed wasn't getting me high no more. I started popping ecstasy because ecstasy was the almost cool thing at the time. Kind of like crack back in the day when it first hit. You know what I mean? It's like, didn't nobody really know what it was, but they knew it got you high. So like, a lot of our mothers and, you know what I mean, aunties and stuff, like, it's like, oh shoot, what this crack thing is? Let me see this, and you get on it and like, boy, it's all you, you know. What I mean?
Yeah, you get on it, and then before you know it, it's on you.
It's on you. It's hard to get it off of you.
And you know what? Here's Uncle T being contradictive. I'm an honest person, guys, like, and girls. Here's my problem with a lot of the weed smoke. That's the problem right now in my home. I don't smoke. My kids think that I'm weird because I don't smoke and this and that. But like, here's the contradictive side of me with that. I think I have a problem with the lifestyle of smoking. You're smoking because that's the genre that you're in. Like, this is the music that I listen to. These are the people around. Because, and where I'm going with this. Again, people are going to say, like, nah, that don't make sense. But, like, you have people in Harvard, Yale, law school and stuff like that. They smoke weed, but they're doing something. They're working towards them. They're in law school where you got minorities and blacks and some whites just as well, and, you know, all races.
Right.
They walk in the street smoking simply because they like Future. They walk in the street smoking because, you know, that's what What's this new rapper my son told me about? Famous Dex. That's what they do. They smoke. So I think there is a difference. Smoking and not going anywhere, and smoking and heading somewhere. Both of them are wrong, but like somebody else on the other side still has a focus, and your focus is strictly getting high. And their focus is to get high so they can pass this bar.
And then too, you just made me remember, like, then from a medical point of view, like different strands do different things for the brain or for an individual. Take for instance, there's sometime I would smoke certain strands of weed, and I would get super creative. So like I said, I forgot all about this. Around the time where I did start smoking, that's the kind of excuse I used to use. Like, I would get super creative making beats, producing beats, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'd go in the studio and I'd crank out. Like, I remember when I first started smoking, I was cranking out. Like, I locked my house. I locked myself in the house, like, that whole summer. Knocked out, like, 3 beats a day. You know what I mean?
So you were productive.
I was, but then at times I would smoke strands. Because back then, like, there was different type. There was, regular and mid. And it wasn't like it is now. Now everybody swear they smoking loud. They smoking gas. They smoking.
Yeah. Why would you want to smoke something called gas? Like, I put that in my car. Like, yeah, I'm clowning it. I'm clowning it, world. Like, I don't get it. Like, oh man, fill me in,
what's
money.
Up, bro?
Money smoke before. I ain't mess with it.
You don't want to hit that. You don't want to hit that diesel.
It stink.
You don't want to hit that diesel.
No, I don't want none of it.
Check this out. They gonna make you laugh here. And word, I'm a transparent person, so hey, if this offends you or you feel some type of way, take that up with God. But
yeah, this ain't for you.
I ain't smoking no more. But that was a time, man, on this walk. Since I've been walking this walk 7 years, I went back and I called myself in Atlanta, gonna get me something to smoke on, cause I'm stressing. You know what I mean? Guess what the weed would call?
What?
God's money.
They need to stop.
Bro, I'm sitting there smoking weed, feeling convicted. Call. I'm like, I'm supposed to be putting this in the offering. I'm here smoking. I'm here smoking.
It's telling you what you're doing. You done stole from the Lord to mess up your dopamine cells, to get you unmotivated.
Hold on, let me give you some more name. Green crack.
You see? See, y'all ignorant. Anybody out there at the sound of my voice who's smoking that, you're ignorant.
Girl Scott cookies, you know what I mean?
I buy something from the little girl with the lemon stuff in the middle of it, because that's ridiculous. This here is just somebody. Y'all gotta fill me in.
Yeah, but another thing, just to I believe like it messes with you psychologically, because I don't even think it's just the smoking. I fell in love with the whole process.
I think you fell in love with the lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely the lifestyle. Because like you say, the thing was I had started kind of dibbling and selling weed before I actually smoked weed. So it's like once I started smoking, I didn't know how to roll it for like a lot of people that started out. When I actually learned how to roll, that's when I fell in love with the process. Like I got to bust the blunt down and you bust it open. Now I'm rolling it up, man. Just licking it, and that whole process.
Y'all hear this?
It's just
my business partner is a bona fide weed head, retired. Like, be careful, world, who you decide to start a business with. Be careful, world, because you don't know. Check your credentials or whatever. I am sitting here in the studio with a bona fide, certified, degree holding weed roller.
Listen, and I'm not even trying to, I was literally a stoner, like a stoner. Like I felt like I probably should have been born in the 70s, because and that's why I say, Uncle T, like, it was terrible. And I encourage you too, as you walking through this with your kids, because just me looking back, man, I took my family through hell. My dad was a pastor, still a pastor. My mom's a minister, and it's like I smoked so much to the point where even my partners that smoked with me used to say I can't count the times where people that was smoking with me said, "You finna roll up another one?
Yeah.
What are
man.
you trying to prove?" They would ask me
Yeah.
that. What are you trying to prove? But they didn't realize by that time I had got to the point where I was literally. You ever seen a chain smoker smoke cigarettes? I was
chain smoking weed.
I would smoke blunts like that to the point where Uncle T, no lie, I bust one down, roll it up. Like I said, I fell in love with the process. Say it's 4 of us smoking right now. I fired up. By the time it gets like the 3rd or 4th person, I'm busting down another. That's the point I was at with it. You know what I mean? And it was because I had got in such a place where, in what you just read, that actually educated me because I didn't know that. It was like I was smoking to cope. And cope, if you look up the word cope is to find a way to effectively deal with your issues or problems. So I thought that by me smoking, I was actually coping with my problems, but what I was actually doing, I was killing my brain cells and replacing them with, like you said, this chemical, and it eventually got to the point where I was smoking to, and it took a minute. This like before I gave my life to the Lord, but it got to the point where I used to smoke to forget my problems. But then it got to the point where I would smoke and I would think about my problems and even more problems.
Yeah, your dopamine cell were all screwed up, man. Y'all all screwed up.
I would go through depression and then, like I say, start popping pills, not even knowing the effects of that, which brings more mood swings, more depression, suicidal thoughts. Man, just trip out. I
don't get it. I mean, I really don't get it. I just, the next time we do a segment on, this is what it was supposed to be about, marijuana for the most part. We just went there on drugs, but next time we do a segment, we're going to do a live call-in. So y'all stay tuned for that a couple of weeks. But, yeah, man, I just don't know what with these kids of mine, man, like which direction to go. I got one that, oh, man, was just doing foolish stuff and it's come to find out, it was just all based on drugs. Then I got one that this big one, the oldest one, just lied to your face. Nope, I didn't do it. Nope, it wasn't me. Oh, yeah, my car smelled like weed, but I wasn't smoking it. Well, who else driving it then? Like, oh, no, it ain't my car. Okay, you don't smell this? Oh, I smell it now. Well, you just drove it here. So I had to announce, I mean... Would weed make you do that?
It definitely.
Did you really not smell it?
Literally, bro. Like the thing is, I didn't realize, like I said, till I stopped smoking, how loud weed was, especially what they're smoking now. What they call loud, what they call gas. Like that stuff is very, very loud. But while you're smoking it, and me, I used to like to blow out my nose too. So like that's all. Like
that's what's in your airways.
It's in you, so you like don't really smell it. Like nah, you're consumed in it. It becomes like I was basically a marijuana plant.
So almost like everybody's house has a smell, but they can't smell it, but somebody else can come in and smell it.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
That makes it even more ignorant. I'm sorry. I like the smell that. Since I've been saved, like I can look at the trees and I can just smell like the smell coming from the trees. Not this one that smoke, the tree outside where the birds chirping in them. That smell, man, like pine.
I'm gonna be real with you, Uncle T. You about to laugh at me with me saying take the 5 feet with the Holy Ghost and not smoking. I still like the smell of marijuana.
You's a fool. Y'all hear that? My partner, my business partner, my co-host is a new fool. Y'all ever heard of a new fool? If you haven't, it's one right here in the studio with me. A new fool. We like the smell of something they call dank.
I always been weird because I actually, and this is just off topic, y'all. We be tripping, man. I used to like the smell of gas as a kid.
Y'all hear this? I told y'all earlier that
like real, like
my co-host, my partner. You have to check people before you sign contracts and stuff with them and all this kind of stuff, man. You never know who you got next to you. Like you just, that's my baby boy. I love him to death.
I'm just being real, man.
Man.
But on the real, man, this is really a serious topic, man. Like for real, because the reality is like I believe it really does more to the human brain than and it affects more people than we really realize, you know, because even like, you know, just smoking a lot of times, like I say, different strands do different things. There's times where I've smoked certain strands, like I said, and got creative, but then there's times where certain strands that stuff they got out there now, man, like you smoke that stuff, you be stuck. Like Cat Williams say, man, he say he was looking at his refrigerator.
Just sitting there looking at it. That's crazy.
But you be looking dead at the TV and not even seeing what's on there. Like,
well, see, and this is on a serious note. Here's where it affects me personally, and affects probably multiple people out there. It's destroying people's homes.
Definitely.
Your kids, or rather, you can be going to Disney World, going on a family vacation, and your kid will tell you no, they don't want to go just so they can sit back and be high. If you visualize the picture of that, the enemy is actually at work. He is at work, and he's not at work in another city. He's at work right there in your backyard. You visualize that for a moment. A vacation, and your teenager says, no, I'd rather not go, which he really wants to go, or she really wants to go, but they know that if they go on that trip, they won't have a chance to break away and get high. That's something that we need to think about, world. Like, seriously, like, I'm living it today with my kids, and sometimes you look back as adults and say, like, what could I have done different to detour my kids from this lifestyle? And the answer is nothing. Don't beat yourself up.
Independent choice.
I've been beating myself up for a while. My son doesn't even live in the same city no more because so much has happened based on marijuana use. And when I say based on it, a lot of people say, well, no, that's not really kind of how it happened. But here's the deal. Myself, as well as New Type of Money, like, we have a good time, but we really are analysts. Like, we really think things in depth. So I look at things more broadly than some other people. So I'm gonna give you an example. A few years ago, my cousin, 17 years old at the time, he got caught up in a major mess. He was in the car with two other friends. They were related. He was the only one that was not related, and they went to buy some weed from someone and proceeded to rob this person. Of course, that person panicked, pulled out a gun. They pulled out a gun, just started shooting out of fear. And needless to say, the cousin said that the guys in the car that was related said that my cousin did the shooting, and he got a life sentence because they ended up killing the guy. And they didn't even know they killed him until like later. It was on the news that a car had a wreck in someone's backyard, and it come to find out, it was that guy, and they shot him. Well, they said that my cousin did the shooting, and he got a life sentence. Now, people might say that, no, he got a life sentence because he shot someone. Absolutely correct, but that's the surface of it. But the foundation of it is that they were going to buy some weed. Right. If they didn't smoke weed, they wouldn't have been in that position, and that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So he still got a life sentence behind a blunt. Wake up, guys. Wow. Like that's really what I'm saying.
As you say that, I'm thinking, man, over 90% of the times I went to jail, even when I went to, the chain gang for a little bit, it was over marijuana. Like,
it's over marijuana. It's destroying lives, people. And I would never say it's okay to smoke or do any drug. I don't know if we ever announced this before, but we'll tell you right now, like New Type of Money and myself, yes, we are Christians. Yes, we do walk. I'll say we're believers.
Right.
Christianity comes with a price. All religion does, but we don't consider ourselves religious. We consider ourselves believers in the All-High, the Almighty. But I do know that this drug thing is not something of God. It's not welcome in the kingdom. And right now, the adults that can hear me, they need to understand that our children is at stake right now.
Definitely.
That's the most important thing. We can have a good time, we laugh, we joke. That's what the world is based on as well. You gotta have a good time, but we gotta understand though something is at stake right now. And look around, and it's your children. It ain't really you; it's your kids.
Definitely. And I mean, we at the point now, man, where like just the reality, man. Maybe the next 5 years, 10 years, probably even less than that, man. This stuff is gonna be legal everywhere, man, and it's gonna be different when it's legal, because your kids are actually gonna be able to go to the store just like they buy a pack of Newport shorts in the box, like, and say, hey, let me get the Blue Dream
and one of them purple Swiss sweets to mess up my lips. You know when they be smoking them purple Swiss sweets, them lips be purple. That's all they smoking, them purple Swiss sweets. You thinking lipstick, but that's them grape Swiss sweets. I mean, the strawberry Swiss sweets. You ain't fooling me. But on a serious note, that's something like New Type of Money actually said is something that we all need to think about in retrospective. Think about this. Marijuana has been illegal for years. It's coming up as legal. So therefore, it will be as normal as tobacco. So guess what now? The next thing might be what? Cocaine. They're going to start dibbling and dabbling in that. So, people like to sneak and do things. That's the thrill of it. So the fact they don't have to sneak and do marijuana no more, it might not be the thrill anymore. Right. So then when the government decide, okay, they're going to do cocaine anyway, we're just going to make it legal. Are you going to say, oh, well, it's fine because it's legal? Guess what? The chain keeps going. Now your baby at 14 smoking crack because the government said, you know what? Oh, they're going to smoke crack anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and legalize it. So you're going to say, oh, well, it's legal now. Let me tell you something, guys. I never want to come off on our station as like a Bible thumper or anything like that, but I do love the Lord, and I will tell you this: the Lord ain't never made none of this okay. He's not gonna feed your baby crack. So everybody at the sound of my voice who are believers, you know that there's only two things going on right now. You either walking with God or you walking with the oppositional force. You name him what you want to name him: the Satan, the devil, Lucifer, the enemy, Lucifer. If you think that he's finished or he's just going to lay down in this war, this drug epidemic, like, think about it. Like, why? Like, if you're in a football game and the other team is winning by 10 points, are you going to lay down? You're going to keep fighting to the end. And the only thing about it, we don't know when the end is the end.
Then you got to, I'm finna touch on some touchy stuff, but you really have to be careful, when you have kids and then they want to tell you, I'm not knocking doctors, but certain doctors want to tell you, your kid may be this or may be that. You want to put them on this medication, that medication, because I've seen that a lot of times. You know what I mean? Well, you start your kid out on this medication, this medication, this medication. They've been addicted to something their whole life, and then they grow up and, you know what I mean? It's
still
crazy.
A drug. I don't care if it's a prescription drug or a street drug. It's still a drug. But we just gotta wake up. This whole nation. Can New Type of Money and Uncle T change the nation? I'm gonna say yeah. And the reason why I'm gonna say yeah, a lot of people right now might say y'all are crazy. I'm gonna say yeah because if we just had the help of one person to say, you know what, I'll help y'all change the nation. And you can convince one person to help us change the nation. So here's what happens with that. One person helping one person helping one person, you develop a team.
Definitely.
And a team of people, man, with a good sword, which our sword is the word of God, you can change some stuff. But here's the deal that our whole movement, B.R.A.V.O, is trying to, I will say, kind of not perfect, but put into the world right now is showing the kids a new way.
Definitely.
That's it. If all we're doing is talking about it and not showing them a new way, like you really kind of like you're trying to nail a picture on the wall with no nail. You just like you You just hitting the wall.
And my thing, Uncle T, is like, we can sit back and talk about what kids are doing or what people are doing, but lately, and it's what I've been doing, even looking back on in retrospect at my life, like, not gonna just say, okay, stop smoking, or you need to stop smoking. Like, I want to sit down with individuals and have a real dialogue and conversation with them, and ask them questions, and allow them. And while you're asking these questions, you know, if you're in the spirit might give it to you. Basically, where did this start? Like, okay, yeah, I see you smoking, yeah, I see you having sex, yeah, I see you popping pills, you on this. Like, what's at the root of that?
Like, what drove it?
Yeah, a lot of times there's some pain at the root of that. There's some frustration. There's some, just to be honest, a lot of kids deal with a lot of stuff in their homes growing up, man, and it turns into something else because they're in one environment that's dysfunctional or whatever the case may be. Then they get in another environment it's dysfunctional, but it's their peers, so they don't even think it's dysfunctional. They just fit into that environment, and then they get trapped in that environment, trying to have fun or escape this home environment that is dysfunctional or whatever, and boom, it becomes a lifestyle. So
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I believe it's just getting to the root of things. Like, there's and people have said, I used to say, oh, I smoke cause I want to smoke. No, the reality is you were influenced by somebody, and that's the reality. We're all, even people that have the most made up mind to be their own self and their own individual, we all are influenced by something or somebody, especially with us holding these cellular devices in our hand and looking at TV. You know what I mean? You can be riding in your car right now, and you may not even listen to the radio a lot, but you listen to the radio, and the radio say, come try our 75-cent slushy at such and such. You like, shoot, man, I'm gonna go check that thing out. That was 75 cents.
Yeah.
You weren't even thinking about no slushy until you was influenced by that came on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we just really have to be careful, man, because we live in a world where they're constantly selling us stuff, and that's what they're doing to our youth. That's what the enemy is doing. We're in a system. We're in his kingdom, amongst systems where they're constantly selling our kids and us lies.
Yeah.
And we're just buying them.
And you know what? It goes back to something that I stated to you a couple of days ago, man, about the whole perspective of how you see yourself.
Right.
Like, who are you? When I say who are you, I mean, like, as a leader, like, who are you? Because if you're nobody, nobody's going to listen to you.
Right.
Again, they got songs, gospel songs saying I'm a nobody, and I'm trying to tell everybody.
Trying to tell everybody
about somebody. You can kill it right there, because if you a nobody, and you ain't nobody finna listen to nothing you saying.
If you a nobody, I'm telling you that nobody.
That's what that dope do to you later on, y'all. Y'all hear me?
You be around time saying.
You hear him? Stay off of it. Y'all tell you that's what it'll do to you. Y'all hear him? It'll get you later on in life. You don't even know.
While you playing, bro, like it took a long time. That stuff still messed with my brain.
Yeah,
like,
to mess with it.
It messed with my brain in this certain. For real, it took me really getting into the spirit and spending time with God to actually change a lot of things in because them drugs mess with my brain. It will
mess with your head. I believe it. And, and I'm gonna go back to what I was originally saying, guys. Like, you gotta understand, like, you have to classify yourself as somebody. You have to be somebody. Get on a platform and try to reach other people that already have platforms, and just let's try to do better with standing up for what's right. And here's something I always tell people. I'm not trying to be a different person. For those who knew me in the 90s and stuff like that, I'm not trying to be a different person. I'm trying to be a better person. That's it. I'm not trying to be different. I'm trying to be better. And back to the platform thing, the reason why drugs and sex and all this stuff are so influenced right now is because the people who are advertising it are somebody.
Exactly.
They're artists. They're
very
movie stars.
people, yeah.
Exactly. So people like New Type of Money, Uncle T, like, we don't have the same power as Drake. We don't have the same power as what's his name? The boy I just got through telling you about. No, the other one, Future, Mr. Drug Papa Kill Yourself. Him. Like, yeah, we don't have that same power. So it takes a army where all the thing he got to do is say something by himself. But it takes an army of us to try to combat what he's doing.
And the reality is, Uncle T, because you know I did music, still do music, and while I was on all them drugs, man, and you can even hear somebody. I've heard Future say a lot of these rappers, they put it out there like that, but the reality is they not doing them drugs because they happy.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing that stuff because they're fighting their demons, and they most rappers are telling you in the music, I'm fighting these demons, I'm smoking their weed. They telling you, and you just like, you just hearing the weed part, you just hearing the this and that.
Yeah.
You ain't hearing they actually in a
They
real
crying
spiritual battle, and their soul is crying out for help. But you're lost too. They're blind. You're looking at them because they are influential. So it's the blind following the blind. And it's like you'll listen to somebody like me and Uncle T and just be like, knowing that truth is resonating within your inner being, and like, yeah, I hear you, but shoot, man, everybody's doing it. What if everybody's doing it? That should be a red flag right there.
Yeah, and you got to retract your statement too, because I am somebody, and I am not doing it.
Right.
So, and you shouldn't do it because everybody else is doing it. I mean, that's just the whole key. And we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon, guys. Just want everybody to know out there at the sound of our voice, like, we truly love everybody, but the kids, teenagers, and they're our hearts. That's what B.R.A.V.O is based on, man. It's just teaching them how to build relationships and valuable offers, trying to get them to the point to when they're, 30, 35, 40, they have a foundation to stand on more than just, man, I hate that I done ... Man, I wish I had a ... If I only could ... We all know that you can never hit rewind on that.
Ooh.
You can never hit rewind on that. So if the adults at the sound of our voice understand what I'm saying, it's your responsibility to reach one child. And when I say one child, it don't even have to be yours. And I'm going to say this, and this is something I'm going to tell you right now. Some people may disagree, and those who do disagree, to each his own. This is not for you. You have a better chance reaching someone else's child sometimes instead of your own.
That's so real.
Find someone else that you can trust that's a great mentor to reach yours, because at the end of the day, I've experienced this personally. You're just mom. Yeah, you're just dad.
Else. Yeah, pour into another child.
You let somebody else, still teach your child right from wrong and be there. But when it comes to like there's some topics, whatever, you can't speak to your child about everything. Somebody else can say the exact same thing you're saying, and they'll get it because it wasn't coming from mom.
You've been saying the same thing
for years.
For 30 years.
I've experienced that. That is a true statement. Yeah, you still have to discipline, you still have to love on them. I'm just saying, let somebody else come in and just not necessarily assist you, but just be there to hear some things that maybe you can't really, don't feel comfortable telling you. I think it works. As far as rules, though, you still have to have boundaries. You still have to be rules set. Fighting it in my house again with this whole I want to smoke in the car thing, it's not going to work. It's got to be rules. But that's kind of it for me, New Type of Money. Until next time, you got something for the people?
Nah, man, I just really, all I can say, man, young people, like millennials, man, let's do better. And I'm putting myself in that, man. Like, let's stop falling for these schemes and tricks of the enemy, man. Let's really start asking ourselves, man, like, who am I? Let's really start building a personal relationship with the one that created you, and stop following people. Stop trying to be like people. Like, you don't have to fit in with nobody. God created you to be you. not anybody else, you know. So even we got to get this too as older, you know, individuals. So man, that's all I got to say. And until next time, man, we gonna sign out. Salute to the plug, he the plug, we the plug. Elevate.
Bravo.